I keep doing that top chat. All right, hang on here. Live chat. There we go. Good evening. Welcome to Wombat's School of Music. I guess you'd call it. I am here to help you guys learn the basics, the ropes, whatever you want to say it is about the guitar. From how to hold the guitar, what the parts of the guitar are, all the different things that are on there. So I will wait a little bit till people start showing up. Have some water. It's always good to stay hydrated. I know sometimes people their watches aren't always calibrated to mine and vice versa. Some people might say I'm early, some people might say I'm late. So we'll split the difference and we'll wait for whoever to show up. A lot of times when you find yourself playing with other people, especially musicians, they are notorious for being late. They're almost always late. So in the meantime, I've already tuned up my guitar here, and this right here, some people call them box guitars, but generally you would call this an acoustic guitar. And this right here is known as the body of the guitar. This part here, this long skinny part, is called the neck. This part here is called the head. It's kind of like a person. You have the head attached to the neck, and the neck attaches to the body, like so. Starting with the head, a lot of people call this, hello, whoever just came on, a lot of people call this the headstock, the peg head, the tuning head. Either one of those terms, and you just left. All these terms are acceptable. This is called, most people refer to this as the head or the tuning head. These parts right here are called the tuning pegs. And that's why this is called the tuning head or the headstock. This is where the tuning pegs go on. Your strings wrap around here, and these, you either can make the string lower in pitch, which is known as going flatter, or you can raise a pitch, also known as going sharper with the note. These are your tuning keys, also known as tuning pegs. Hello, Dory. Just doing the basics. Just going through the basics of the parts of the guitar, and we shall go from there. So thank you for coming on. I know it is kind of a little bit late where you're at. Yes, it is probably, I'm guessing, about 3 in the morning. I'm cheating. I've got one of those other clocks on here so I can kind of tell what time it is for my friends all over the world, whether they're on this side of the pond or the other. So hello, California 5K. So was just going through the guitar, got the head, then you have the strings that go through these posts that are attached to the tuning keys. Insomnia, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully my calm voice will put you to sleep. Maybe that's the plan. So anyways, traveling from the head down onto the neck, you'll notice that there's this piece of white plastic here. Sometimes it's made out of plastic. Sometimes it's made out of bone. I've seen them made out of brass. Sometimes you'll see them black and they're actually, or like a dark gray, almost black, made out of graphite. This is known as the nut, or the string nut, a lot of people call it, because the strings, I don't know how well you can see that. Let me get here where you can actually see it really good. You see the strings, there we go, sit into the grooves of the nut. And that's what helps them maintain their pitch. So then moving on, on the neck, you have these wires that run up and down the neck. These wires right here, these are called frets. The ones going up and down that way, those are called frets. And then you have these dots. Usually they're plastic. Some years ago they used to be clay. Sometimes they might even be metal. Mother of pearl, they make all kinds of things. These are called your inlays or your fret markers or fret dots. I've also heard that as well. And this comes in handy to let you know where your hand is on the neck. And if I'm going too fast, I can repeat stuff. I can slow down. I just don't want to bore anybody. So they don't need, no, they don't feed inside the neck. They actually rest on the outside of the neck. They actually feed through the bottom here. This part here is called the bridge. This plastic piece here also is bone sometimes. That is the saddle. The strings rest, they lock into the bridge with these things called bridge pins that hold each string in place. They come across the saddle and through the nut. No guitar yet? That's fine. We're just going over the basics, how to pick out a guitar and the parts of the guitar. So yeah, the strings actually, let me see if this shows a little bit better. You can see how the strings just kind of rest ever so slightly right above the neck. So hopefully you saw that. So yeah, the strings, they rest. And what gives the string its sound is the vibration. It vibrates across these 2 points here, the saddle and the nut on top, when it is open. And when it goes higher in pitch, you're actually shortening the distance that the string vibrates. For example, if I put my finger here, where these two dots are, that's a 12th fret. This is going to be higher up, D. So here it's higher in pitch than this. It's because now I have shortened its length of its vibration going from this fret here, which is the 12th fret, to the saddle. And your sound is only going to be from where the bridge is to where your fingers are. If I go up even higher, you hear it changes in pitch as I travel this. They call this direction going up the neck. They call this going down the neck. So it goes higher in pitch. Oh, letters. We'll get to the letters here in a little bit. I will be leaving these streams up. I will definitely, I leave all my streams up, and yeah, they'll be easy to find at a later date, or if you have any questions, or if you came in late, that's what this is all about. There's no rush to this. I'm here trying to teach whoever wants to learn, taking time. Hello, Michigander man. So, hey, it's pretty early. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for leaving a like, Big Red Bear. So as I was saying, you have these strings, and you have these fret markers, and you have this big part of the body of the guitar called the body. This is called the sound hole. On an acoustic guitar such as this, the sound comes out of the hole. And the shape of the guitar helps amplify the sound. It takes the vibration. Okay, cool. There you go. You've been given a starter acoustic guitar. Glad to hear it. And then this right here, this is just a piece of plastic that's glued on here. This is called a pick guard, and that basically just guards against any kind of scratching in the finish that might be caused by a pick. This is a pick right here, also known as a plectrum. Some people use picks, some people use their fingers. So it's whatever works best for you. You want to get a feeling for that. And so this is an acoustic guitar, and the parts are all the same, whether it's an acoustic guitar for the most part, or an electric, even a bass. This is a bass guitar, and it has a few less strings, but they're thicker because they're lower in pitch. And again, you have the same parts starting from the top. You have the head with the tuners. You can see them a little bit better on, that's why I brought my bass. You can kind of see how the strings go through. They just, on a bass, they've got the slots. On a regular guitar, these posts right here just usually have a hole drilled through the side that the string goes through. It wraps around, then the string goes through the nut, over the top of the neck, and back to the bridge. And again, this is a little different since this is electric. Oh, Mr. Dory has one of these? Okay. So same principle. This is called a bridge. The strings feed through the back. You can kind of see them there. You can see the ends of the strings where they go through the metal piece. And across these things here, these are called saddles. My arms aren't quite long enough. Those are called saddles that the string rides across, going up the neck into the nut there. So we've got that. This is a bass. Basses and electric guitars, usually but not always, are usually made out of a solid piece of wood. And rather than having a sound hole like an acoustic guitar has, they have these things on here called pickups. Basically what these are similar to microphones. They pick up the vibration that the string makes, and it picks it up, converts it from the vibration from mechanical energy to electrical energy, sends it through a cable that plugs in here, goes out to a device called an amplifier that converts it back to mechanical energy as it moves the speaker. And I know I'm getting into like physics and stuff now. Sorry about that. But yeah, the cable just plugs in here. Some people call it a lead, a cable, a cord, and it looks like this. It's all coiled up. It looks like this. But it looks kind of like a large headphone plug. But if you look at it, compared to a regular headphone plug, it only has one line. Headphones, you have two of these black lines. I don't know if you can see that very well or not. Can you see it? You can kind of see it. So if I had a headphone adapter, I would. Actually, I do. Actually, I do. How about that? I'm actually more prepared than I thought. All right, let me set this bass down here for a second. Back over here. Okay. I have a lot of guitars myself. It's a It's a dangerous habit. But you see the ends of the plugs? This one here is for headphones. And it has a right and a left, and then a ground. And then this one here just has the single one here. These type of plugs will not work too well. These are the kind you want. Put my palm behind them. Okay. All right, that's what all the big YouTubers do, right? Okay. There you go. Now you can see them all right. The brass or golden finish one is a stereo plug used for headphones. And the other one is a mono used for microphone cables, guitars, and whatnot. So there we go. There we go. And they come in different colors. You can get them coiled. You can get them straight. I like having colored. The most primary color that you have that you'll be able to find these in is black. I like having colored ones because when I play with people, my cords always disappear and they go home with somebody else rather than going home with me. So, and these ones I actually got online from a company called Musician's Friend. I'm big time YouTubing. Thank you, Tammy Sue. But these are really cool. These came with these little Velcro straps on them. So you can just coil them up, put your Velcro, let's see if it's open. There we go. Put your Velcro like so, close it, and then there we go. And it keeps your cable all nice and tidy. So when you throw it in your case or your gig bag or what have you. So there's that. Another thing that's helpful to have, well, actually, I'm getting kind of ahead of myself. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't talking about it now. One of these will help you keep your guitar in pitch or in tune. This tuner goes on. You see the lights. And then the little needle goes back and forth, letting you know what note is being played. This one's nice. I like it because it has a sound that you can play to tune to what they call concert pitch. And you can adjust it as you need. That's a tuner. You can get tuners like this that actually go on the end of your peg head. That'll show you, it'll light up and show you what notes you're playing. Very handy to have, very inexpensive. Getting back to what we're talking about before, talking about guitar picks, you can never have too many. When I used to play with people all the time, just for fun, I used to have a pocket about with this many picks, sometimes a little bit more, because there is always people, the same people that would take my chords would never have picks. So I'd always try to carry picks around with me. And some of them are more fancier than others. This is just a gray nylon pick, medium thickness. I just buy like a lot of different ones for different things. Sometimes I like thicker ones like this one here. It actually has a size on it if it'll focus. Right there. That one is 88 millimeter. Oh, you have a pick maker. Nice. Yeah, I usually like the mediums, which is like about a 72. Sometimes I'll use a little bit thicker one at 88. Like this one, sometimes they're stamped medium. Like this is a Fender. Mrs. Wombat always tries to steal these because she likes the color of them. Come on, focus. Let me show you the back side of it. It's like a purple pearl. There we go. I'm a little shaky. I apologize. Yeah, she picks those up. Some of my friends like these little ones. They call them stubbies. They're real small. Let me find a piece of Scotch tape real quick. to make it easy for you guys to see what I'm talking about here. Alrighty. Do the stubby to medium, and then we'll do a base pick. Okay. There we go. That's good. Okay, yeah, you can see the purple one a little bit better now. If I keep it still. Okay. This one here is a little bit bigger. This is usually for basses. I've known guys who play regular guitar that like the big triangle picks. They're a little bit bigger than the regular guitar one. And this is a stubby. Some of the guys that play real fast or like jazz, they'll use those. Oh, you bought it to make earrings? There you go. A while back, I was making some guitar necklaces with picks and stuff on them and beads and stuff for some kids that I knew. So that was always fun. Another accessory that you'll find yourself in need of is a strap. This is adjustable depending on how tall you are, how short you are. If you want your guitar way up around your neck, or if you want to be like a cool rock star and have it just above your knees, you can lower these things down. And there's a pin on the guitar that goes through there, just opens up, slaps on like so. Let's see, it goes on that. That's called a strap button. The strap just goes on there. You can see it's recessed. Just opens up, locks on there, makes it more secure when you play. And it's always good to have your guitar where it's nice and secure. On a lot of my guitars, I'll replace these with some better ones that actually will lock in place, so I don't have to worry about the guitar crashing down. And again, let's see here. This is a regular electric guitar. And again, you have the same parts. You have the head, the tuning pegs, the nut, the neck, fret wires, your pickups, which you can see a little bit better. There's like actually things below there to pick up the vibration of each string. And again, going back to the bridge along with the saddle and then the strings. This one you can actually see better because these strings that I have on here, this particular brand, you can see the ends are colored. And that makes it easy for changing strings out. So, all right, good night, Dory. It's crazy o'clock. Yeah, I know. Hopefully you have a good rest. You had a good sleep. Oops. So there we go. There's that. Okay, talk about the parts of the guitar. Get into strings a little bit later. Any questions from anybody so far? I feel like I'm going really slow, but some people might say you're going too fast. I missed something, so if there's any point where you need me to repeat something, feel free to pop up in the chat. A starter guitar with small, okay. No question. Okay, a good starter guitar would probably be one. Oh, I'm sorry your children are sick, Dory. Really, you want to find a guitar with a nice narrow neck. Sometimes electrics are actually a little bit easier to play than acoustics. These necks are a little bit wider. Let me grab my electric real quick so you can see the difference in the size of the neck. If I put them side by side, you'll be able to see right away that the neck on the electric is much more narrower than, banging these things together, more than the acoustic. You can kind of see the neck is a little bit wider. This is a little bit thinner. This is kind of has more of a curve to it. So usually I tell people if they're, it really depends on what type of music you want to play. But I usually tell people if you're looking for a guitar and you have smaller hands, hello, good evening, Jewish redneck preppers. If you have smaller hands, you might want to start with an electric, because my hands aren't really that big, and you can see I'm wrapping my whole hand around the neck of this thing. So this has a really small one. On a budget, best thing I do is recommend is ask friends and family, because you'd be surprised how many people have guitars. They bought the guitar at one time, they're all excited to play it, and now it's just been sitting in a closet collecting dust. I would ask your friends and family before you make any purchases. You'd be amazed how many people have guitars, and if you say, hey, can I borrow your guitar? A lot of times they'll just give it to you just because it's taking up space and they feel embarrassed. But you'd be surprised how many people actually have guitars they've bought either for themselves or for their kids. Their kids just had to have a guitar. I want a guitar, I want a guitar, I want a guitar, I want a guitar. And then it just, it never comes to fruition. They think it's going to be super easy, super simple. They buy the guitar. They don't have to take lessons. They're just going to start playing like their favorite artist, and things take time to learn, going through the basics. But yeah, usually like this one here, I bought this one brand new for $90. Sometimes you can find stuff used secondhand for really, really inexpensive. There's a company called Sam Ash that are in a lot of cities. There's also Guitar Center, which is another place that has a lot of used instruments for the same reason that someone has to have this particular guitar. They decide they don't want it. They decide it's too hard. And you can snatch up some really good deals there. Let me grab my other guitar real quick that I actually bought at Guitar Center. I just realized I haven't put the knobs back on this. I took the knobs off to clean it and polish it, and I changed the strings on it. But this one here, this is an Epiphone. The other brand that I showed you was Squier. Those are two very inexpensive brands, Epiphone and Squier. This one here was a little dusty and has those two white scuffs on the side that nobody's ever going to see except for me. Those are on the guitar when I bought it. Had a real light layer of dust on it. I got this for $40. $40. 40. Yeah, sometimes if you look around, you can get really good deals. You know, if you're starting off, you don't want to really spend more than $100. All right. And if you know anybody who plays guitar, I would take them with you. Oh, my camera's acting wonky. I apologize. Hold on. There we go. There we go. So I would recommend, if you know anyone who plays guitar, take them with you when you go to the shops and do some looking around. Don't buy the first. Hello, Lady Superfly. Don't buy the very first guitar that you see. Try a couple of them. You might find one that you really like, and then you might find one that you like even better. So, like I'm saying, go around, do some shopping, do some looking online. Make a wise decision. But first, like I said, first and foremost, check with your friends and family and say, "Hi, I'm going to start playing guitar. Do you have a guitar? Know anybody who has a guitar that's just sitting around that I can borrow till I get one?" And I would say about 90% of the time, you're going to find people who go, "Oh, yeah, sure, hold on, I think I do." And sometimes it might need new strings, or sometimes it might be one that their kid had to have, slapped a whole bunch of stickers. Air guitar, there you go. Yeah, oh yeah, that's fine, Tammy. Yeah, you can send me DMs and I'll say, yay or nay. And it's just like, let's talk about that for a second. Picking out a guitar. Let me get a drink of water. Grab my acoustic since it's handy. And one thing when you're shopping for a guitar, you want to make sure, let's see if I can get this all in the picture here. The neck right here, you see how that's straight from here to here on top? You want to make sure that's relatively straight. It might have a little bit of bow in it. I'll see what I can do. I'll keep my eyes open. So, but you want to make sure that the neck is relatively straight, and when you look down the end of a neck like a gun, you can kind of see a little bit better how it's straight. It's not all twisty. That's a good place to start. That's it. So, and then you want to make sure that all the other parts are glued down, not lifting up, no big old cracks or anything. Sometimes here the nut, if it has a place where part of it's missing, that's usually a good sign the guitar's been dropped. Or if there's dents on the neck, the frets here, if you push on them and you feel them move on to a different guitar. If you run your hand along the edge of the neck and you feel any excessive sharp things that might possibly cut you, you want to watch out for that as well. So that's I'm in trouble already. So that's pretty much it. Just the basics of what to look for. And this one, almost all my guitars I modify. This one, I decided to put some electronics in it so I could plug it in. Got that's called a jack, where your cable goes in. Got my knobs there so I can play it through an amplifier and go crazy, or just play it without. Talked about picks already. Another thing to talk about is strings. Mrs. Wombat's talented. She is very talented. So, strings, usually people refer to string size by numbers. These are what they refer to as nines. That's your thinnest string. It's by thousandths of an inch is what they're measuring. Nines, these are for electric. They have acoustic ones too. These are tens, and it usually this one here actually gives you your list of what your string sizes are: 10, 13, 17, 26, 36, 46. From your skinniest to, I am a little bit too. Thank you very much. But like I said, the 9 refers to your skinniest string on there, how thick it is, and then it goes up from there. So, with all that said, let me see if I can find a pick somewhere. No, just kidding. I got a bunch of picks. You have thin ones that are really flexible, that are real thin. Sometimes I use these for just real light strumming. And just use a real light touch. So I tell people when they start off, either go with thins or mediums and just use a real light touch. And when you go to play a guitar, whether you decide to take lessons from somebody else or come by here and watch what I'm offering, first of all, make sure you have fun. Make sure you're relaxed when you play, because if you tense up, your muscles get all tight, you're going to get cramps, and you're going to be grumpy, you're going to be angry. You're not going to want to play if you're not feeling good. So what I tell a lot of people is just find a guitar that when you hold it, it fits, it feels really good. At first, just let it, kind of sit on one knee and just kind of hold it loosely in your hand. My microphone's in the way, sorry about that. Just hold it, loosely. It should just rest kind of gently in your hand. You're not choking it. You're not trying to kill it, but you want to have where it's not going to fall out of your hands either. Just have a nice, loose, relaxed grip on it. And when you start playing notes, you don't have to put a bunch of pressure on the bass. The strings are thicker, so you have to put a little bit more pressure. But on electrics and acoustics, you don't have to put very much pressure. You're just barely pressing down on the strings. And when you're sounding notes, I talked about these metal wires being called frets. You just, rather than putting your finger right on the wire, you put it just right against it. See, there's a little bit of space right there. And then it'll sound. If you put it right on there, it'll buzz. Oops. You can kind of hear the note, but it's not as clear as if I move it back a little bit. Can you hear the difference there? It's kind of muffled. You kind of hear a little bit of a difference there. But, the most important thing is just to have fun as you're playing, as you're strumming. And then you've got the strings going from your skinniest string to your lowest string. In between. Yeah, so you can hear a difference between whether your finger is right at the spot, right next to the fret, or right on the fret. You want your notes to ring out clear. You want them to be clean. You want to have fun as you're playing. You want to play relaxed. And what else? Oh, let's talk about hand position, since we're talking about playing in a relaxed fashion. When you have the guitar in your left hand, and okay, let's back up a little bit. It depends on whether you're left or right-handed, the way the guitar faces. A lot of people will play left-handed, a lot of people play right-handed. And what the difference in either right or left-handed refers to is what hand you hold the pick with. So if you use a pen and you write with your left hand, then more than likely you'll be inclined to play left-handed. If you're writing with your left hand, or if you write with your right hand, you'll be playing with the guitar oriented more for your right hand. The pick is going where your pen would normally go. It's the same kind of movement with the pick and the pen. So as far as that determines the orientation of which direction the neck is going to go. If you're left-handed, the pick would be in your left hand, and your hand would be your other hand, what they call the fretting hand, because you're playing against the frets, would be your right hand. Everybody goes, oh, if you're playing this way, you're right-handed. It goes back to referring to where the pick is. If the pick, where the pick is whether you're left-handed or whether you are right-handed. So I don't know if that makes sense or if it sounded more confusing than anything. The hand that holds the pick determines whether you're right or left-handed, just like when you write with a pen. So, and then for your hand that's on the frets, I always tell everybody your thumb, I'll show you the back of the neck here. See if I can do this without getting my hand too weird of a position. Let me do it this way here. Let me make a chord. And usually what I tell people is your thumb, you usually want to have your thumb towards the middle of the neck. Is just more comfortable. If you have smaller hands, you'll want to kind of adjust your thumb so you can reach the strings a little bit better. If your hand's really big, sometimes your thumb will creep over the top. But you just want to make sure it's comfortable so you can play. And usually what I tell people when they're playing, let me stand backwards, maybe that'll be better. When they're playing, I usually try to keep my thumb between my middle finger and my index finger. And it's just more of a natural position as you're holding your hand. As if you're gripping something, it's kind of more natural. And again, when you're not gripping it tight, trying to strangle it, but it's just a nice, easy, comfortable, relaxed feel that you have on the neck. And then, like I said, your thumb is usually between your index and middle finger, sometimes middle finger, sometimes, and it's more comfortable. I know when I started playing, I was watching a friend of mine, and he'd always point with his thumb way up here, and it just made things really awkward. You have your thumb here, and it's like, ooh. But if you have it just kind of here, it's more relaxed, and you can move your hand up and down the neck a lot easier than if you have your thumb here and your. Because I started playing like that, and then I started getting cramps in my thumb and right in that muscle right there, which was very painful. So this guitar here is a Jasmine, is the brand of this. It's made by a company called Takamine. It's one of their entry-level guitars. And as far as acoustics, I like the way it sounds. It has a nice, gentle, airy, warm kind of sound to it. It's not too harsh. It's more just a nice, rich, soft kind of sound. And then you have the strings, which like I said, you have on the guitar, you have usually 6 strings. Sometimes you can have 12 strings. Okay, your favorite, you like that warm acoustic sound? Okay. All right. Yeah, that's good. I play whatever's handy and whoever I'm playing with. Some days I play acoustic, some days I play electric, some days I play bass. It just all depends on what I'm playing. But yeah, the acoustic guitar is nice. It's portable. You can take it wherever you want to take it. The electric guitars you can play unplugged. You can play them acoustically, but they won't be quite as loud because they don't have the sound hole. And sometimes it's in some ways that's good for silent practice. Other ways, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Try to figure out which one works best for you. And again, like I said, this is called the sound hole, where all your sound comes out of. And the wood on top is very thin, as you can see. You'd think it'd be thicker than that, but it's very thin because the strings, when they vibrate in the bridge, it amplifies, and this whole top vibrates. You can't actually see it, but you can, as you're playing, you can kind of feel it kind of vibrating a little bit. So that is, well, we can get into the strings, I guess. So any questions so far about anything I've covered? I know I kind of covered a lot in just a short amount of time. And like I said, I will be leaving these up. We'll get more into playing as time progresses. I just don't want to overwhelm you guys with a bunch of information all at once. I want you guys to know the parts of the guitar, not for a test or anything, but just so you'll be aware. People go, oh, that's a guitar. And then you'll amaze your friends, go, yeah, that's a sound hole, or that's this, or that's that. And I go, wow, how do you know all that? I picked it up somewhere. Some guy told me. That's, again, that has a strap button on it right there. Yeah, the acoustic guitars, sometimes they're a little bit more, they run a little bit more than the electrics, but I think they think that's because the electrics, you need the cable and the amplifier and stuff to go with it, so it kind of balances out the cost of everything. But then I went out of tune there for a second. Real quick on the strings. Your skinniest string is an E. Your second string is a B. Third string is a G. Fourth string is a D. Oops. Fifth string is a A. And your lowest string, your sixth string, is a E. And that'll come in handy later, knowing the names of the strings and where you are. Next time, we'll start with going over the names of the strings and showing how these fret markers work, what position they are, and what that means, and why that matters. So I figured just going over the different components of the different guitars and stuff would be a good place to just kind of start to get our feet wet, and then we'll get into actual kind of more hands on the guitar as time progresses. But I think I will go ahead and stop now. Set that down there. Oh, okay. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, I will. I kind of like to give. Sometimes I give too much information, but as I teach, I like to kind of go back over some of the stuff that I've done before. Don't worry, we're not going to go over all the parts of the guitar and all that stuff. We'll get more into actual playing and tuning and all that stuff next time. This was just kind of to kick things off, to see who was interested, who wanted to learn how to play, and I'm sure more people will come out. And I thank you for coming. And this was really really a short notice. I was kind of thinking about doing this. Mrs. Wombat encouraged me to do this. We'll be doing these regularly on Mondays. We were talking about it yesterday, and actually, we were talking about over the weekend, and then things happen. So we'll be doing these on Mondays. Wednesdays is the usual hangout live stream that I normally do, where people come in and out and we talk and stuff. That's going to stay the same. The guitar classes are going to be on Mondays. We'll do them for about an hour, or it depends, like between 45 minutes and an hour. Usually when people go for instruction at schools and stuff, it usually goes for like about 20 minutes, half hour, because that's really all that people are used to. Okay, that's good. I'm glad this will help you out and hopefully give you something to do to pass the time, and something that you will hopefully begin to develop a love for playing and enjoy playing. And we'll try to cover different styles as we get into it, which means I've got a lot to learn myself. As the teacher, I need to learn, and part of teaching and instructing helps keep me on my toes, so I'm learning new stuff and I don't get so rusty. So knowing that it means a lot for you, it means a lot for me. So I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate knowing that this makes a difference. Yeah, Mrs. Wombat, like she said, she's in a wheelchair as well. So it's nice to have met you. And like I said, don't be a stranger. If you have questions, like I said, I'm going to leave these up. You can also send me a DM. I'm on Twitter. I'm available almost around the clock. I keep some kind of late hours, and I get up kind of early in the morning. Yeah. She Jen who's Mrs. Wombat. She has the condition that Kimberly Chiari has. She has Chiari as well. It's a little bit different. She doesn't have the fluid situation, but she had part of her brain had gone into her spinal cord and caused some problems. And she's had surgery to keep her alive, to keep things from getting worse. So she's still with us, but as far as her mobility, she's got issues with balance and different things. So she understands what it's like to be in a wheelchair and going through things, and she understands the tough days. Not trying to take anything away, but just she wants you to know that she understands exactly the struggles that you go through. So that's that's what I meant to say. So lupus and the left your spinal cord damage. So yeah. So you kind of understand the fatigue issues and all the other things that go on. So we understand that. And what's up, AV? Came at the end. So that's good. You have a Mr. Davis there to help you out with stuff. That is always nice to have. AV, yep. I'm gonna leave this up. You can watch the live stream. I was just basically talking about the different parts of the guitar. So that is good. Yeah, I will start doing the guitar streams on Mondays, starting at 7 o'clock Pacific time, which is probably going to be like 9 or 10 o'clock, depending on where everybody lives. Again, like I said, I'll probably be doing it for, I don't know, I'm trying to keep it like an hour, just because I want to be respectful of everybody's time. The actual lesson part will be like about half an hour to 45 minutes. And then, so Mondays work better for you. That's okay. That's good. That's what I was saying. Mondays usually work better. I know the further you get into the week, towards the weekend, everybody has all kinds of stuff going on, whether they're different live streams or just stuff, hanging out with people and just, regular, everyday kind of life stuff. So I figured we'll do this on Mondays. And, and again, if you have any questions as we're going through stuff, stop me. I'm looking at the chat. So feel free to stop me and say, what is that note you're playing? What is that chord? What is that string? What, just all kinds of things. And again, if I'm boring you, say, can we get to something else? I'll do that. If I'm going too fast, which I normally tend to do because I get excited and I start talking kind of fast, say, hey, slow down, I'm missing something. And that's not gonna bother me at all if you need to do that. But then I've got my handy dry erase board that we'll be talking about stuff for next time. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, there we go. So for next time, I'll be talking about, and I'll try to get my writing better with this dry erase board and this little skinny pen I'm using here. Notes on the first string, E, F, and G. And I'll be talking about the basics of that. And there you go. Yep, I gave Jen my access to my Twitter. Some people don't like that, but I just thought it was easier if we share it because we have the same friends, we talk to the same people. So rather than everybody having to have 2 accounts to go back and forth, just keep it on one, and yeah, so that's fine. But like I said, next week we'll be covering the strings. Actually, just the first string. Going over the notes E, F, and G, and some other notes. So there you go. AV can vouch for you. Okay, that's good. I think he can. Yeah, and this is just something. I enjoy teaching this stuff. It's relaxing. This is a place that's going to be drama free. And if somebody from the other community wants to learn to play guitar, I'll be more than happy to teach them. I'll just tell them, be on your good behavior. We're not here to talk about anybody else. We're here to talk about the guitar, and that's it. And usually people can respect that. So Tammy's good people. I've seen her on stuff before. I know she's good. So it's like, I see people every once in a while pop their head in and stuff, and I say hi. So it's all good. It's all good. So, anyways, I will sign off for tonight. You're not a drama chick. I'm glad to hear that. Some people just get really into the drama, and it's just like it's what they live for. And it's like there's more to life than drama. There's so much more going on out there than all the drama and everything that goes on. And it's just like all the stuff that happens in our little community means not much of anything outside of YouTube. It's just like so far removed, and you start mentioning things and people go. So it's like, I don't even talk about it. I just make sure I stay out of trouble, and that's enough. So anyways, like I said, have a great rest of your evening, both to you, Tammy Sue, and to AV, and anyone who might be watching the shadows. So again, like I said, We're going to be doing this every Monday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Some nights I'll have the acoustic out. Some nights I'll have the electric out. As we progress a little bit later, I'll be getting out some of my pedals and some other stuff, and plan on doing a bunch of stuff and making this be a fun thing, and having it progress. Yeah, I know. Your drawings. So, not safe for work. All right. I will see you guys later. Have a great night, everybody. Like I said, thank you so much for coming by, checking me out. Don't forget, we'll be hanging out here tomorrow night, just kind of hang out, pop in, talk. And like I've said before, I know people from different communities and stuff. And the people that I associate with in these different communities are pretty decent people. And I know you guys are pretty decent people, so hopefully you guys will meet some of the other people, and just things will get back to being good on here, and not everybody having to watch their back from the slings and the boulders and the bullets and everything else that people are throwing at each other. So anyways, like I said, have a great night. Thank you again for coming by, and you can come to my Patreon. And no, I'm just kidding. Have a great night. I'll see you guys later. Oh, bye-bye.